And this is how it works. What happens is your mind has developed a ritual. Every day you have developed a way of coping with your life, and every time that you find a coping strategy, whether that's avoidance of a situation or ignoring people or whatever your situation is, you have developed a ritual. Your brain, your subconscious, which is perfectly healthy, is working with your conscious mind, and your conscious mind is telling it that if you do a certain thing, you will panic. And your body's got into a ritual. It's a habit, nothing more. It's trained itself to cause your body to produce inappropriate responses to very normal thoughts and sensations. So when you think about something that causes fear, going outside, for example, in the case of agoraphobia, your body reacts inappropriately. Your brain tells your body that you're scared, and you receive panic and anxiety symptoms. This is abnormal. It is completely inappropriate. And now you're scared of fear. And there's a never-ending cycle. You're scared of fear, you become fearful, you panic, it subsides, you try to go outside again, you become fearful, you panic, and so on. And it just keeps going round and round in circles. And you know this. And there's only one effective way to break this cycle. Just one effective way. And that is to distract your thinking brain, your conscious thought, distraction. It sounds simplistic, but if you can distract your conscious mind for long enough, it'll break the cycle of these awful negative rituals. You've spent so long listening, feeling, monitoring, discussing, reasoning, diagnosing, psychoanalyzing, and living your life around your condition, sensations and thoughts. Now that's all there is. That's all there is in your life. You have internalized yourself on all of those negative feelings. You're monitoring your body continually. You're discussing with people. You're searching for some sort of answer. You're diagnosing yourself. And you feel you're stuck in this cycle. And you are. But you can break it through distraction. All your past experiences, the fun, the love, the holidays, the Christmases, the births, the marriages, the achievements that you've had in the past, and the simple enjoyment of the world itself, have been completely blocked out and almost forgotten by your conscious mind. And your subconscious mind is following suit. It just thinks that that's the way things should be, because your conscious mind is saying, yeah, I'm scared, yeah, I don't want to leave the house, I'm going to panic. And your subconscious mind just goes along with the flow. Because actually, all it is responsible for is the autonomic reactions of your body. And they're not important. They are just sensations, just feelings. Nothing more. They're not real. They're your brain's message to your body that there's something wrong, and your conscious mind is causing this. So if we can break this cycle, and we can break this cycle using the techniques used in this pack, you can be well again. No doubt. Really, you can be well again. It's important to realise that breathing and correct breathing, and that includes posture, cause a lot of these abnormal sensations in your body. And if you're not breathing properly, and you're not standing properly or sitting properly, and you're not moving around a lot, your lungs cannot provide your body with the right amounts of oxygen in your blood to function normally, for your brain to function normally, for your muscles to function normally, for your organs to function normally. And although this isn't going to hurt your body or damage your body in any way, it causes very, very severe and awful sensations in your body. So, we need to occupy the thinking brain. We need to occupy it so that it's thinking of other things. We need to occupy the body so that you are moving, so that you are exercising your lungs, that you are bringing in enough oxygen for your body to function on a normal level. And these two things are the holy grail of being well again. It sounds very simplistic, like I said before, but it is absolutely the holy grail of being well again. You are completely obsessed with you. Think about it. It sounds awful, but you are. You may have thoughts for other people. You may have thoughts for your family, your wife, your husband, your children. But at the end of the day, you're obsessed with you. You internalise everything. You live your life around you. If you think you're going to panic somewhere, you don't go. You affect other people in this way, but actually, it's you you're thinking about. This might sound really simplistic, and it might sound really awful, but you know, it's absolutely true. We can break this cycle, and we will break this cycle. And it may sound too good to be true. It may make you feel that, oh, it may never work for you. You may read all this information and think, well, this is never going to work. But if you want it to work, it will work. But if you don't want it to work, and you're not prepared to try it, it won't work. I mean, it's as simple as that. Anything you do in life requires practice. Anything you want to perfect, whether it's playing cricket, whether it's playing golf, playing tennis, whether it's learning a language, whether it's learning an academic subject, whatever that might be, if you don't practice it and you don't learn it, you won't be able to do it. It's as simple as that, and this is going to take practice. You need to train your conscious mind to perform a thought process that your subconscious mind is jealous of. Thoughts and actions that divert your obsession and that make you feel good about yourself and the world around you. It's as simple as that. The important thing to do is to realise that you won't be able to start big. You won't be able to just walk out of the house and be well again. You need to start small. So if you feel that you can get out of your environment, then do it. But if you can't, think of something that you can do in your environment. You can venture out later. It's as simple as that. Think of something that requires total concentration, total diversion, something that makes you focus entirely on it. At first it's going to be difficult. You're not going to be able to concentrate, and we realise that. You may be able to, but chances are you won't. But you've got to find something that makes you focus entirely on that and that only. Something that would make you concentrate so much that you'd miss an earthquake. That's what we're talking about. Something that completely envelops what you're feeling. I'm not talking about watching television or reading a book. I'm talking about something that really, really takes your mind off everything. Eventually. Don't think it'll do it straight away. It won't. In my case, I found photography. I'd done it at college, and it was, I really used to enjoy it. And I found that, when I was taking photographs, I'd be concentrating so much on the technical aspects of taking the photograph, the right exposure, whether or not the framing was right, for example, whether the subject was right. Looking at the subject through the viewfinder, it focused my attention on everything in that viewfinder. It sort of blocked out the outside world temporarily, and I was just so focused on what I was looking at. At first, I didn't go out into the street and start taking photographs. I couldn't. I was agoraphobic. It was awful, and I was panicky. But what I did to start with was take photographs around the house. So, when I could actually summon up the energy to get up and do stuff, I'd force myself off the seat and I would take a photograph of the house plants or the dog or whatever. Even my girlfriend or whatever was around really. And then eventually I actually took photographs through the window, of plants in the garden, of the weather, of raindrops on the window I did sometimes as well. And then eventually I absorbed myself so much in this, that days and days went past where I was taking rolls and rolls of photographs. And nowadays with digital photography you don't even need to buy the film, so it's not a cost issue. But eventually I ended up in the garden taking photographs of the plants in the garden. I got a long lens, so I took photographs of birds in the garden and all sorts of things. But as I say, looking through the viewfinder helped me to focus on the beauty of the world almost. Just the blades of grass and the trees, and it sounds really corny, but you really focus on what is in that viewfinder. And your fears seem to subside somehow. Eventually I got to the point where I could go down the road. And then, within 6 months, I was actually on a college course, which I found really difficult. I'd sit there and I would feel so poorly, the pressure in my chest and the sweating and the shaking and, the psychological feelings and emotions. It was just almost unbearable, but it was bearable. That is the bottom line. And I did it. And the more I did it, and I would dread every week going. I'd want to be there because I'd want to learn. But on the other hand, it was just an awful thing to have to sit there and shake. And people, I thought people could see me shaking, but they couldn't. They didn't know there was anything wrong with me. And I actually spoke to people later on about it, and they said, you'd have never known. So that's a good thing, But this isn't going to happen overnight, It takes some time to build up to that. Okay, sometimes I look through the viewfinder and see something beautiful and feel a panic attack or anxiety symptom, but soon it became second nature to ignore it, and the more you ignore it, the less you empower it, and the more it subsides. It's as simple as that. Sometimes I go a week with very little panic, just generalised anxiety and the occasional flare-up, but I'd be able to control it. But as time went on, they get further and further apart. This really works, believe me. I'm not just saying this because it worked for me. It's worked for dozens of people that I have talked to. people who have read this pack, people who have worked through this with me on a one-to-one level. Everybody has got something out of doing this. Some people at this time are 3 months into the program and they're very much on the way to recovery. Some people are 12 months into the program, and because they don't practice this so much and they're perhaps not feeling as brave, it takes them longer. But it will work, and all it takes is time and bravery. It needs for you to be strong, and the bravery aspect is nothing, because you've actually been through the worst that your body can throw at you. You've been through the worst symptoms, the worst thoughts, the worst emotions that your body can throw at you, the worst symptoms ever. And you've been through it. So the bravery aspect, you've already gone there. You don't need to build up your bravery. You have that. I know you have that in you. The discomfort you feel when you have a panic attack will subside, but you have to put yourself into these controlled situations. You have to push yourself. If you don't push yourself, you won't be able to get through it. If you don't take yourself into the garden, to take photographs or to do whatever it is that you choose as your hobby or your distraction, you won't get through this. You won't progress. But if you do it, you will. And as time progresses, talk to your doctor about withdrawing your medication. Most people actually withdraw from their medication without feeling worse again. Some people get some rebound anxiety, as it's called, which is just basically like pulling out the stopper. You've suppressed all of these feelings and all these emotions so long, falsely using medication, that when you actually remove that, you can get what's called rebound anxiety. And it's a whole flood of emotions and feelings. Most people don't experience this, or experience it very, very mildly. In my case, I experienced it quite badly, because I was on anti-anxiolytic medication for a long time and I was taking a lot of it. But in 90% of the cases of the people that I've helped, that isn't the case. They've actually found it very, very simple and very capable to come off their medication. But do talk to your doctor about it. There's a withdrawal program in the book which you can suggest to your doctor that I suggest you use. Don't do it too quickly. Follow that program to the letter. You have to climb back up the steps to wellness and the world outside. There's no easy route. They're cold and hard steps that you fell down. You have to climb back up them again. Sometimes this will be fairly comfortable, sometimes not. But nobody can retrieve themselves from their situation when they're in this panic and anxiety cycle without doing this. There is only one way out, and this is the way that I'm suggesting. The thing to remember is that you owe this to yourself and your family. You owe this to yourself to be well again, and to your family. I can't tell you how long it will take you to break the anxiety cycle, but I can only tell you that you can and will do it. No matter how ill, sick, weak, drained or scared you feel, you will not die. No harm will come of you. You've experienced the worst and you've come through it. You may experience some of those things again, but you will get better. Now, you've got to listen very carefully to this. This is very important. If you go to conventional doctors, family doctors or psychiatrists, they will, in most cases, prescribe you with medication. That is a fact. That's what they're there for. Psychiatrists will prescribe you psychiatric medication, whether that's an antidepressant, anti-anxiolytic, whatever it is, they will do that, because that is what they do. Medication can only provide temporary relief. It's never been a cure. Once you withdraw it, some or all of the symptoms will come back. No one I've ever helped has become well by using medication. Nobody, ever. Nobody I've ever come into contact with. Because at the end of the day, when you remove that medication, that crutch, the person is left without that support, and they have to then revert back to what I'm telling you to do, which is to heal yourself. And also you've got to think that no one else can do anything to make you better. Only you have the tools, the know-how and the strength to do that. Nobody else. Only fear is stopping you. And be honest, after all you've been through, can you honestly, logically accept that you're frightened of being frightened? It doesn't make sense. Being frightened of being frightened simply doesn't make sense. And can you accept that this fear is going to stand in the way of you leading a full and happy life? I mean, why? You know, we live once. This is your life to have with your family, with your children, with your grandchildren. And you have to move on. You have to do this for yourself, for your own personal enjoyment of the time that you have on this planet. You must make yourself well again. That is the bottom line. I've been where you are, and the book is a testament to that. You'll read that in the book. When it finally dawned on me that I was frightened of being frightened, that I'd wasted so much time, that I was missing so much and hurting so many people, that I was alone. And